What up, guys? It's your boy Minix here with another tattoo time lapse. Really appreciate it if you guys are checking this out and showing love and support from any social media platform. It means a lot to me. So as you can see, I'm tattooing Venom. This actually was already started about, I want to say, 2 months ago. So by this point, we've actually already done about 2 sessions. And really what I was just trying to do with this session in particular was trying to bring out things that were difficult to read, as well as fine-tune some of the sharper details. Not to mention add a little bit of texture and highlights and accents. We're actually going for a full marble sleeve in this tattoo, so I'm really excited. Underneath Venom is going to end up being Captain America wielding Mjolnir, and beneath that we're going to get Iron Man and Wolverine. By the end of this tattoo, or rather by the end of this tattoo time lapse, we're still not quite where I'd like to be. However, we spent a significant amount of time on it for this session, going well into the night comfortably, but he's super excited with how everything is turning out, as am I. So really here just focusing on the mouth, isolating the teeth from each other by creating contrast, as well as enhancing some of the textures from previous ink that might have not stayed or came out during the healing process, or just didn't have enough readability. So I have still been focusing on my rebrand. However, it's going to take some time. Trying to promote incentives for people who have shown so much love and support. Rather, trying to acknowledge, not promote incentives, but trying to acknowledge the already said supporters. Because without you guys, I really wouldn't have been able to come this far, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But backtracking a little bit, I am trying to promote incentives for new acquisition and new people who are interested in either my tattoo work or my gameplay. So I've deviated away from Fortnite and am now just doing Fortnite about once a week, maybe twice a week, and I thought it would be a very difficult transition, but you know what? I enjoy it. I'm trying to become a little bit more community oriented and focus more on tattooing. And what I found is that I thought that a lot of my, I don't know the exact words to say it, I thought that a lot of my video production was where I wanted it to be. And this entails like alerts, channel rewards, and even more like how I handle certain scenarios. I thought it was where I wanted to be, but in actuality, it wasn't until I actually stepped back away from grinding a game competitively and trying to improve in said game. It wasn't until I actually stepped back that I realized that if I really dove in and gave myself a very real assessment with video production or overall video production, I'm really not where I'd like to be. And that's not to discredit how far I've come already, but it's just giving myself a really strong assessments. It's as if I started remodeling a room, and somewhere along the way I just stopped and said this was fine. But in reality, the floorboard's still up, the walls are unpainted. So there's so much more that I'd like to do, and in fact I will do. I want to make it exciting for members of the community. I also want to show my appreciation with a little bit more depth, rather than just saying I thank you. Excuse me, rather than just saying I'm thankful. And with that said, I really appreciate it for everybody who is a part of this journey, a part of this ride, everybody who pops in, checks to see how I'm doing, saying hey, checks to see the tattoos, joins the community days, and manages to entertain me rather than me entertaining you guys. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me, guys. So I'm really excited to see what the future has to hold. And I'm really excited to see how far I can push my boundaries. And for other content creators who might be actually watching this, one thing that I would really encourage is that you guys really focus on your viewership in other channels, especially in channels that you aspire to be like, or at least that you derive inspiration from. Spend more time there. Spend more time with other content creators who have it together, and be humble enough to realize their grind and acknowledge their hard work, because it can really help you out and really just give you a better appreciation to this craft, just being a content creator. So I've still also been trying to hold myself accountable to like daily operations that I've implemented for myself. So I actually have a list behind me, and it's like a little chalkboard, and I put on it making sure that I post here, I post here, I post here, and I post here. And that I come up with a little bit more of a direction for my weekly YouTube video. I'm trying to stay on top of it, and you know, shamelessly, I have to admit that this video is actually supposed to be available to you guys on a Tuesday. However, right now it is a Friday, so I'm actually a couple days behind. So there's definitely room for improvement. I'm a professional content creator here, and professional content creators don't miss deadlines. A really good book that I would like to recommend to you guys it's called Atomic Habits. I don't remember the actual author, but I've read it a couple times now, and you know what? There's so much to be taken from it, and there's so much that I've implemented in my daily that I would really recommend people who struggle with implementing good behavior and habits. I mean, there's so many other books out there as well that I could recommend, but it's just something that I'm clinging to at the moment, and really am finding to have quite a number of gems in there. And in addition to that, for people who aren't actually like really disciplined at reading, one thing that I found to be very comfortable for me is actually using Audible. So definitely an option. And if this is your first video with me, how I think I'm going to approach tattoo time lapses is like doing like a little podcast over top of it. I don't really know if you would say it's a podcast, but more like a vlog, maybe. like an audio vlog. And this is something that we can just watch while I'm going about my rant. No, but really, I'm going to try to make sure that during this time where I'm speaking to you guys, for people who are listening and people who are interested, that I actually offer you guys a little bit of substance. I'm going to try to avoid like major topics or political or religious discussions, but really just talk about things that are relevant to me in the tattooing and or Twitch community, as from the point of view of a content creator or artist. And again, for people who this might be their first video with me, I do not go into details, the technicality of how I execute my tattoos, but I may speak about some of the artistic decisions that I do, but I always want to promote safe tattooing. And if people are interested in going that route, then I would recommend that they approach it properly. And if anybody wants to talk about how to approach an apprenticeship, I'd gladly be willing to talk about it. So you can sort of see how things are starting to flesh out. But one of the things is, as you're tattooing over older or healed, you can really see a difference in what looks like saturation, like it almost looks like one is wet and one is dry. But really what I'm just focusing on is drawing out some things, and everything that I'm pushing in is going to end up eventually looking like the already healed tattoo, obviously, right? But something to keep note of. And I'm gonna end up doing a lot more with green as well after we put in the other pieces, giving a little bit more of a flow, or giving a little bit more of a background, flow and background. I'm gonna try to create motion and try to just fill up the empty spaces in between the characters, but I don't want to prematurely occupy space what could potentially be a part of another tattoo. So something to consider. And for people who are wondering, the bicep is what we're tattooing right now. And I find, as in my own personal experiences, that the bicep is the easiest place to get tattooed by, if you're wondering. And one thing, if you guys have come this far in this video, we have yet to scratch the surface of the satisfying transformation of this piece, or the forthcoming of this piece. If you feel like by this point you're over the video, just fast forward and check the white highlights. Check the white highlights. Just look at the end of the video. The white highlights are so satisfying. That's probably the most satisfying thing to me as an artist, is the white highlights. So that's really all that I have to talk about. Make sure, if you guys like my content, drop that like, drop that sub. I'm also minings on everything: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'll be putting all the descriptions below. And if you guys have any critique or criticism, I'd love to hear it. Or even just some compliments or words of encouragement, I'd love to hear that too. Thank you so much, guys. And there's still a little bit of the video left. Don't forget to check the white highlights. And I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Till next time.